So him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, he just don't care.
We're inside Grady Memorial Hospital, but tonight it doesn't feel like a place of healing. It feels like a scene straight out of a crime drama. It's 3 a.m. in Atlanta, and King Harris, the so-called prince of the Harris dynasty, is lying tangled in tubes and wires, locked in a silent battle with something no one can name. Every flicker of his monitor sparks another rumor online. Every heartbeat is being dissected in group chats from Atlanta to London.
Due to my past events, they kind of say like, hey bro, you do this, you can't, so I've been chilling.
I feel like people that stand with you, you're really a good person. You help out a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, you're innocent. Like you live life.
Yeah.
Behind the glass, family members stand frozen, faces pale, eyes empty. Tiny can barely stand, collapsing into the arms of strangers as her cries echo through the cold, sterile hallways like a sound no mother should ever have to make. Nurses whisper updates that sound more like secret codes than medical facts, and the tension in that corridor could break steel.
Me and my dad, man, we had a relationship. Like, it was like to the point to where he know me, I know you, but it was almost like Ghost and Tariq in Power, bro.
Outside, millions of us are glued to our phones, scrolling in disbelief as hashtag Pray for King and hashtag Justice for King Harris rocket up the trending lists. Because this isn't just another celebrity family in crisis. This feels like a mystery swallowing the whole city of Atlanta alive. The truth's already twisted, and the hospital's statement sounds colder than a press release. They're saying King Harris is critical, but stable. But nothing about what's leaking online sounds even close to stable. Rumors are flying that his injuries look staged, that they don't line up with the story being told. And one so-called insider claims a god confessed, saying the order came from above, we just cleared the way. That's not chaos, that's a setup. Word on the Atlanta streets is this wasn't some random jail brawl, this was something planned, calculated, carried out with surgical precision. Every bruise, every mark looks like a message carved into his skin, each one whispering another theory about who wants the Harris legacy buried for good. And while cameras catch Tiny's tears and broken sobs, the world can't stop asking, how does a boy born into fame and fortune end up fighting for his life, hooked to machines, while the city whispers cover up? If this were just another celebrity scandal, it would have burned out by sunrise. But this isn't anyone. This is the heir to a hip-hop empire, the son of T.Y., the man who crowned himself King of the South, who spent decades building a dynasty under the spotlight. Now that crown's trembling, and the streets are wondering who's really pulling the strings.
Was there ever a moment on camera that you felt like you had to portray somebody or someone you weren't? Or did you stay 100?
Nah, for the most part, man, I stayed 100, man.
T.I.'s marriage to Tiny, their hit reality shows, and kids turned into household names before they could even spell their own. It all once looked untouchable. But as we stare through the glass at King's limp form, that glittering dynasty suddenly looks haunted, cursed even. The silence from the Harris family isn't just grief anymore. It's laced with fear, suspicion, and the chilling sense that bigger forces are moving behind these hospital walls like shadows. By the time the first conspiracy posts go viral, it's already too late to stop the storm. Whispers ripple online about masked men sneaking into the ICU, about machines shutting down without warning, about nurses risking their careers to leak shocking details. Sabotage recovery is what they're calling it. And then the bombshell drops. Talk that King's bloodstream carried substances no doctor ever ordered. Suddenly, the wildfire belief ignites. Someone out there wants him silenced for good.
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to his actions.
And when that chilling quote surfaces from a prison staffer, the order came from above. We just cleared the way. Even the skeptics start to tremble. Who would dare go this far, risk this much, just to crush a 20-year-old whose only crime was being born into power? Every hour brings something new. Another shaky video, another muffled audio clip, Another wild claim that this goes way beyond the Harris family, beyond Atlanta, maybe even beyond hip-hop itself. But to really understand how it all spiraled into chaos, we gotta rewind the clock just a few weeks, back before the ICU, before the hospital whispers, before the fear took over. Because not long ago, King Harris wasn't fighting for his life, he was celebrating it. The room was dripping in gold and royal blue, balloons floating like crowns in the air, Simba cakes stacked high, and Tiny's Instagram glowing with joy. "My baby king is having a baby," she wrote, her pride shining so bright it almost burned through the screen. The place looked straight out of a reality show, friends laughing, family toasting, luxury everywhere you looked. King stood beside Janai, his hand on her hip, smiling like his future was set in stone.
Any actor would tell you when the camera's on, you get into character, you get into, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about reality, it's all real, it's all natural, but some things are, you know what I'm saying? Some things are needed for the climax and the rising of the episodes and stuff like that. So sometimes
that night, the Harris dynasty looked unbreakable. Tiny was glowing, King's sister was clapping back at haters online, and for one fleeting moment, there wasn't a single dark cloud in sight. But even while Tiny was glowing with excitement, something dark was already pulling King under. Just weeks after that picture-perfect baby shower, his life took a sharp, ugly turn. Headlines dropped that King had been arrested in Dunwoody. An old warrant from a year-old driving charge had finally caught up to him. But when the details hit the internet, they were way messier than anyone expected. Reports said he nearly sideswiped a patrol car, that there was a heavy scent coming from his BMW, and a weapon sitting right on his hip. The police write-up didn't sound like some careless mistake. It read like the beginning of a slow-motion breakdown. To the public, it looked like the golden son of hip-hop running headfirst into chaos. A young man desperate to prove he wasn't soft, even if it meant wrecking his own future. When that mugshot hit the internet, the comment sections exploded. "He grew up rich. What's he doing? He's got a baby on the way. Is this really who he is now?" The story spun out of control overnight, and every whisper turned into a headline. Was King trying to outrun his father's shadow, or charging straight into a future that scared him to death? Some brushed it off as young rebellion, growing pains of a celebrity kid, but others saw the pattern forming: legal trouble, family tension, fame pressure, all stacking up like dominoes ready to crash. Just when the world was starting to accept this new, wild version of King Harris, the real storm rolled in. The kind that's been brewing behind the family for years. Allegations that once haunted T.I. and Tiny came roaring back louder than ever. Claims of forced encounters, exclusive parties that ended in trauma, and what one critic called a web of temptation and control. The same old rumors, but this time they had new names attached. Sabrina Peterson turned her Instagram into a full-blown courtroom, posting receipts, screenshots, and voice notes that she swore would expose not just T.I. and Tiny's secrets, but the next generations too. She didn't stop with the parents. She called out King directly, sharing messages from a frantic family claiming their daughter was caught up in a Harris family web. The internet lost its mind. Timelines flooded. Hashtags exploded. And suddenly King's name was trending again. But for all the wrong reasons. Now let's be real. None of these claims have been proven.
they're saying, "No, you're not this, you're not this." And then I'm going to him saying, "Bro, why you doing that? Why you even doing that?" He like, "Bro, the point is to make them think that you're not this. That's the whole goal." And so
The Harris family has denied them all, loudly and aggressively, with lawyers moving fast to shut everything down. But in today's world, accusation alone is enough to ruin you. Every new exclusive post, every shady leak pushed King deeper into the spotlight. Not as a rapper, not as a young father, but as a headline scandal. When people mention his name now, it's not about his music or his newborn. It's about mugshots, courtrooms, and a family legacy drowning in controversy. And every single day, the stakes keep getting higher. The crowd outside the hospital isn't just praying for King's recovery. They're arguing in the streets about what really happened. Was this just a streak of bad luck, or the final chapter in a long saga of revenge, secrets, and karma catching up to the Harris name? The tension outside feels electric, half grief, half suspicion, and nobody can agree on what's real anymore. As people wait for updates, they replay the past in their minds. The baby shower full of smiles, the messy arrest, and that unforgettable Falcons game where King and T.I. went at it in front of the whole world. What started as a simple argument about silver spoon privilege turned into a full-blown fight, King grabbing his own father in a headlock while cameras rolled live. And just when you thought it couldn't get wilder, Tiny dropped that bomb on camera, revealing that King still sucked a pacifier until he was 12. The internet ate it up, turning their family feud into meme fuel overnight. The dynasty's polished image cracked right there in front of millions, and their once golden reputation took a hit it's never fully recovered from. Now, as King lies in that hospital bed, the so-called fortress, every bruise and breath feels like part of a story that's been years in the making. How does someone go from celebrating new life to fighting for their own in just a matter of weeks?
Just sometimes the things we was doing was forced, not necessarily fake. So it wasn't really like, it was just, the perception they had on me was I was just bad, cool, funny. I'm him. That's who I am.
That's right.
That's who I am. So it's just certain things that they kind of perceive and get wrong.
The question haunts everyone watching, and the answers are buried deep under layers of privilege, pressure, and secrets too heavy to hide. Was King just reckless, or was he being hunted? Did he lose control, or did someone push him right over the edge? Was this karma, fate, or a setup straight out of Hollywood's oldest playbook? People close to the Harris camp aren't holding back. They say what happened to King didn't just come out of nowhere. The warning signs were flashing for months. The fights, the arrests, the online drama, all pointing to something boiling just beneath the surface. Some insiders claim King was desperate to step out of his father's shadow and ended up crossing people who don't play fair, people who live by a whole different code, but others say it's way simpler. You can't build a dynasty on buried secrets and expect them to stay silent forever. One way or another, the truth was always going to come knocking. And now, it just might have kicked the door down. What happened to King Harris can't just be brushed off as bad luck anymore. Not when everything around him feels like it's cracking from the inside. There's a dark feeling in the air, like we're watching a dynasty eat itself alive, or maybe watching powerful hands pull the strings to finally bring the Harris name down. And just when the outrage hits its boiling point, the leaks explode all over again. One nurse whispers that hospital security footage vanished right after masked figures were seen near King's room. Another supposed insider claims the stuff found in his blood didn't belong there at all, that no one at the hospital had ever seen anything like it before. The whispers are wild, but the fear behind them feels real. Meanwhile, the Harris family, who built their fame by living in front of cameras, now moves in silence. Every word, every glance, every tear is measured like they know someone's waiting to twist their pain into the next headline. The world's holding its breath, desperate for answers, but the only thing certain right now is that King Harris is caught in a storm no one saw coming. And as the whispers echo through the hospital walls, the whole city feels it. The tension, the fear, the heartbeat of Atlanta pounding louder with every unanswered question. Right now, no one knows who to trust or how deep this story really runs. But one question keeps echoing through every headline, every post, and every sleepless night in Atlanta. How did the prince of the Harris dynasty end up here, caught between life and death?
Yes, that's right. Lawyer Tyrone Blackburn is going to authorities, asking and encouraging state and federal prosecutors to start a criminal investigation into T.I. and Tamika Harris, aka Tiny, on behalf of 11 accusers.
And is this the end of his story or the start of something even darker? You can't look at King Harris lying in that ICU without feeling a wave of deja vu, because this isn't just about one young man falling apart. It feels like history repeating itself. The curse of a family whose rise to fame has always been shadowed by scandal. We remember when the world was obsessed with T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, cameras rolling, showing the perfect blend of fame, money, and family. For a while, they were hip-hop royalty, America's version of a modern dynasty, but that crown cracked fast. In 2021, VH1 slammed the brakes, canceling the show just 3 weeks after announcing a renewal. Why? Because Sabrina Peterson came forward, claiming T.I. once threatened her with a gun, and that single accusation unleashed a tidal wave of allegations. Over a dozen women stepped up with stories of manipulation and forced encounters, claims that shook the whole empire to its core. And now, years later, it feels like those ghosts never really left. They've just found their way back through King. Those wild parties made the Harris mansion sound less like a family home and more like a casting call for chaos. The headlines piled up, prosecutors digging for evidence but never pressing charges, lawsuits getting filed and quietly dismissed, and T.I. and Tiny's legal team going to war online with former friends turned accusers. Every time the couple tried to clean up their image, another skeleton came crashing out of the closet. And that right there, that's the real curse of the Harris dynasty. Every time the storm dies down, another one hits harder, no matter how many denials T.I. and Tiny release, no matter how many statements or legal wins they post, the shadow just won't fade. We've seen the pattern play out again and again. Things go quiet, the family looks peaceful, a new album drops, a vacation photo goes viral, or a baby's born, and boom, another headline drops like a bomb. It's like the universe itself refuses to let this family rest. And now, with King lying in that ICU, fighting for his next breath, it feels like the cycle has come full circle.
And I thought he looked gorgeous. He was like, so I was kind of like, we exchanged numbers, and we ended up meeting that same day. We went to a $3 cafe, we talked, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit over some wings. And from there, we kind of like just played phone tag for a minute and finally hooked.
The Harris name is back in the spotlight, but this time, the drama outside those hospital walls is screaming louder than the machines keeping their prince alive. Tiny's breaking apart, but the internet won't let her breathe for even a second. While she's sitting by her son's hospital bed praying for a miracle, some TikTok influencer drops a bomb that shakes the whole timeline, claiming King might not even be the father of his own newborn. Within minutes, the rumor spreads like wildfire, with blogs, fan pages, and gossip sites all throwing gasoline on it. But Tiny's not staying silent. She claps back fast and fierce, posting, "How in the hell would this person know anything about what we did or did not do?" That's not just a post, that's a mother roaring. You can feel every ounce of pain and fury behind her words. She's not fighting for likes, she's fighting for her child's name, for her family's dignity, and for her sanity while the world watches her bleed. Meanwhile, T.I. handles his side of the chaos his own way. Cool, unbothered, but still sending a message. Sabrina Peterson's back online, waving so-called receipts, teasing that she's dropping them on her birthday, like it's some twisted celebration. She's fanning the flames, daring the internet to believe her again. And then T.I. slides in with that signature confidence, posting, "It's a beautiful day to not be a buster, to not spread lies, and to not be negative. It's a beautiful day, man, to mind your business." Those words weren't just calm. They were calculated. It wasn't a defense, it was a dare. He's basically telling the internet, come for me if you want, I'm still standing. But as the wolves circled the Harris gates, you can feel it. This storm's far from over. We're watching a family trapped in a two-front war, fighting public perception on one side and private panic on the other, while the ICU machines beep like a countdown clock, ticking away at their breaking point. And what's impossible to ignore is how perfectly this moment fits a pattern. King's spiral into the ICU didn't just happen after his own legal mess. It landed right after the Harris family's biggest reputational firestorm in years. Now the whispers are running wild from Atlanta to LA. Is it really just coincidence that every time those allegations of trafficking, coercion, and manipulation resurface, someone in the family takes the hit? In real life, there are fans saying this is the universe balancing the scales, karma catching up to a clan that's dodged too many close calls for too long. But then you listen to the industry insiders, the ones who've watched careers vanish overnight, and they paint a darker picture. They say the Harrises have enemies, big ones, with power stretching far beyond social media. Some even claim the timing of King's hospitalization is way too perfect to be chance, that it looks more like a warning shot, a message carved into reality. Keep quiet.
Trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
Or next time, it'll be worse. Some people are taking it even further, pouring gasoline on the conspiracy flames. With every new leak, fresh, unconfirmed reports pop up. A family assistant allegedly saw text messages warning King to stay quiet and not talk to certain outsiders. An anonymous producer, speaking off the record, claims he's never witnessed a takedown like this, hinting that King's ICU crisis might just be the most public symptom of a family being hunted at the highest level. At the same time, social media is cooking up its own theories. Was this payback for what went down at the Falcons game? Did a rival faction inside the industry decide King was the weak link in the Harris dynasty? Or are we simply watching the inevitable fallout of years spent living too close to the sun, with every slip up broadcast in 4K for the world to pick apart. Every hour King spends on life support throws more fuel on the fire. The Harris family, so used to swatting away rumors and spinning scandals, can't spin this one at all. All they can do now is wait and pray. Meanwhile, the protests outside Grady Memorial grow bigger, angrier, and louder. A restless crowd demanding answers while their prince fights for his. Justice for King and protect the Harris family flash across banners, posters, and even billboards all over Atlanta. The city's crying out for answers, but for every loyal supporter, there's a skeptic whispering that this is just another messy chapter in a family saga that's always had more drama than sense. And while the chants grow louder outside, the dynasty's reputation seems to be unraveling right before our eyes. Old family friends are quietly stepping back, deleting photos and posting cryptic quotes about loyalty and truth.
Been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your bid.
Even longtime collaborators are hinting at something deeper, something that feels like betrayal. Some fans still believe it's all smoke and mirrors, convinced the Harrises will rise again like they always do. But others say this time feels different. The family looks shaken, Tiny looks worn down, and T-Size's silence feels heavy, not strategic. This isn't just about saving face anymore, it's about survival. And that's what makes this moment terrifying. Is King Harris just another young star crushed by fame and bad decisions, by a legacy too heavy to carry? Or are we witnessing something way darker? A dynasty being punished not for what it's done, but for what it knows, for secrets buried so deep they were never meant to see the light. The Harris family's silence isn't calming the rumors, it's feeding them, and every missing file and unexplained bruise just makes the questions scream louder. Every new leaked phone call makes us question everything. Was King Harris ever truly safe? Or was he caught in something way bigger than anyone realized? This is where we have to leave it for now. King Harris, once just a 20-year-old stepping into fatherhood, now stands as the center of a storm that feels deeper than fame, heavier than family drama, and darker than coincidence. So, what's really going on here? Is this the brutal price of fame, the ghosts of old grudges finally coming to collect? Or are we witnessing the final chapter of a dynasty cursed by secrets too dangerous to stay buried? We want to hear from you. Drop your wildest theories, your boldest takes, and your prayers down below, because in this saga, every clue feels like another twist waiting to explode. If this story has taught us anything, it's that the truth in Hollywood is never simple, and silence always hides something. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one. And let's keep digging until the real story surfaces. Stay safe, stay sharp, and keep those eyes open. Because in the world of celebrity dynasties, the next twist is always just one headline away